Don't show too much emotion. You have to be twice as good. Watch how you move. You got to be hard to be safe. Your body is a threat before your voice is heard. These are all truths that I have been taught ever since I was growing up. As a young black man in America, especially when I was younger, before I even knew how to make friends, these are truths that were instilled in me in order to keep me safe. I was told that I wasn't able to show my full range of emotions because doing so might put me in a compromised position. In order to protect the ones that I love, I had to be emotionless. I had to be angry. I had to be threatening. All of these truths that were told to me, I had to shake and understand that they are lies that are held up by white supremacy. Simple as that. If you look at how black men are portrayed in media, none of it is good. We're told that we're not good fathers. We're told that we're always angry. We're told that we are not accountable for our actions. And if you continue to hear that growing up and you don't see any difference, your mind's going to start believing that. Our minds are the one thing on this planet that we have full control over. And if you control someone's mind, you control their dreams, you control their actions, and you control their behavior. So in order for me to capture and take back control of my mind, I had to be mindful of what I was consuming as far as content goes, music, video games, movies, TV shows, and look at it from a lens of, is this beneficial to my mental health? There was a while there, a few years ago, I was watching a silly amount of crime dramas with my wife. And at the beginning, of course, it was intriguing. I was like, ooh, what happened? What's the story? Did they get away with it? Shows like Jinx and fucking The Tiger King, things like that I was consuming, but to what purpose? Was it fulfilling me spiritually? Was I getting enriched from the content and learning some life lessons that I can take forward in my own life? No, it was pure entertainment. And with that entertainment gets introduced different things that my mind should not be focused on. I should not be worried about a murderer or if this person got away with killing 15 different people. That's not something that is enriching my life. It's not doing anything for my content. It's not doing anything for my family. Therefore, I had to cut it out. And I did that with a lot of stuff. If you do not listen or watch these things mindfully, you are opening yourself up to be controlled by whoever is making that content. I fully believe that now more than ever. I'm going to be honest, I ignored the hell out of this whole red pill phenomenon because it wasn't content that spoke to me, and therefore I just ignored it. Lo and behold, there are a lot of young men watching this content, getting inspiration from this content, and I think that is very detrimental to us as a society, but as black men, we need a different alternative. It warms my heart to see all these different black content creators speaking up and talking about things that for my whole lifetime have been taboo, have been things that will put you on the outside of the friend group. And again, as I go through this journey of learning what my mind is capable of, how my mind operates, I understand that things that my mind see as unsafe is only because it's working off of old programming. Back in the day, if you were not part of the group, then you were probably in more danger than you realized because there were elements in nature that could kill you. Therefore, it'd be smarter to stay with a group, so strength in numbers, you can take down whatever is trying to threaten your life. Unfortunately, our brains are stuck in that primitive thinking. It thinks that if we are worried about something, it thinks that if we are avoiding something or we are anxious about something, that that thing is a threat. And our subconscious mind, the only thing that it wants to do is keep us safe. So that procrastination is keeping you from making that content. Your mind thinks it's keeping you safe. The anxiety you get when you think about going live and talking to people about something that you're passionate about, that anxiety is telling your brain that it is unsafe. So it's going to keep giving you that emotion so you do not go forward with it. I promise you, everything that you want out of life is on the other side of some type of uncertainty or some type of scared feeling. Everything. There are so many points in my life. I have the privilege of living as long as I have, so I can go back and look at every life event that I've ever gone to and recognize that those times where I'm feeling anxious because I might have been going into a job that I haven't fully did on paper, but knew I was capable of doing. I might have gone into those jobs anxious, thinking that I was the low person on the totem pole. 6 months later, I'm the one they want to promote, and become a leader. The thing that ultimately put me on this path of making sure that you think what you want to think in order to enrich your life is I was in that race. I was in the corporate America race. I was grinding my way up. I will tell you this, it took me a long time to realize this, but unless you're a certain type of person, it could be your behavior, it could be your mental space, it could be the color of your skin. If you're not a certain type of person, you will not move up in a corporate ladder. The thing that ultimately broke me of this thinking is my entire life. All I knew I wanted to do is I wanted to make money and I wanted to live lavishly. So I looked at my options as far as what I could do for a career, and it was computers. I'm really good at computers. It comes natural to me. So I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and jump into computers because computers equals money. And throughout my entire career, as I'm moving up in different companies, maybe I start at the very low, I'm on the help desk, and I find things that need to be fixed. I am a creative person. My mind doesn't come out of creative mode unless I'm agitated or upset, which is why I try to stay not agitated and not upset because I love when my mind is in creative mode. Creative mode means that I'm always in problem solving. So if you tell me a problem, my brain is instantly going to try to figure out the root cause and to fix that issue. This has served me well, and I didn't realize it until now that creativity is a superpower. Creativity is a necessity for problem solving. Creativity is a necessity to change your entire life because when problems pop up, things that typically would be looked at as negative, it's time for you to kick in that creative brain. Think of how this is going to benefit you, use that lesson, and move forward from that quote unquote problem. With this understanding, problems and failures and setbacks become stepping stones, lessons that you can learn, or spots of where you can pivot at. So go back to my corporate America life, I always saw problems that I need to fix. And eventually I did make my way up. I was assistant manager. And before I left for good, I was the manager of an IT department. In my mind, it is on me to make sure that the processes are flowing correctly, that we are making sure that we're paying attention to our people, making sure they don't have too much workload on them. That was my goal. That was my intention when I became manager. And throughout the 6 months that I was there, unfortunately, it was during COVID. So they were trying to get everybody back in the office. I didn't feel comfortable, but everything that I needed to do, I could have done from the comfort of my own home. Well, corporate America jobs, specifically the one I was at, they're not interested in your comfort. They're interested in control. And the easiest way to control people is to have them on premise so they can see you, so they can walk past you, so they can try their in-person intimidation skills. And unfortunately, I saw right through that shit. So there was a position in the company in a different city. I was still under the mindset that I need to be in corporate America to make a lot of money to make this work. So one last attempt, I was like, let me see if I can pivot to this other job. Now, in my spare time, I play a lot of video games. I was even somewhat of a journalist back in the day. I went to E3, I went to CES, I wrote about games. I love video games. And the prospect of being able to work in corporate America with a passion that I love at the time sounded amazing. On hindsight, I could do that right now for free for myself and have creative control over everything. But I was still holding on to that bullshit dream that if you work hard and you move up, everything you want out of life will happen. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. At this position, they didn't come out and say, well, because you're Black, we don't want you to do X, Y, and Z. They definitely put a stoppage on my growth. There was nowhere for me to grow where I was at. And I saw an opportunity to enrich my own career. So I put in the work, I put in the request. I even flew up to that office to speak to the hiring manager. We hit it off great. I came back. The director and manager here told me, nah, that's not happening. And then my direct manager told me something that is a catalyst, is what made me start Radiant Reflection. And so I can get this message out to other creators that we don't have to go through the bullshit that they tell us we have to go through. This hiring manager told me that I was not good enough to be able to manage the team from a remote location. I'm someone who lives in Discord calls. I work with people all across this country, all across this globe. I don't have to be in the same room with you in order to make sure that you're doing the things that we need done as a team. I could not get that message through to that manager. And in the process, she shattered the ideal of who I am, because I actually looked up to this manager. She had some dope ideas that could have pushed that department forward, but because that company is the company that it was, they were not going to let a woman come up in the ranks and change everything fundamentally. That was just not happening. I was blind to that. I didn't think about that. So I jumped in. She was talking about mindset. She was talking about work-life balance, all the stuff that I wanted to work on. She was kind of mirroring. So once I went to her in full confidence, like, hey, this is what I want to do. And myself, I know I can do it, like 100%. But I had to convince somebody who was not me, who didn't know my mindset, who didn't know who I was as a person, that it was possible. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. Well, fortunately, it didn't happen, because that just put me on a spiral. At the time, quiet quitting wasn't a thing. They didn't name this act, but I was definitely quiet quitting. I went to my office, I went to my meetings, and if it wasn't anything outside of that, I wasn't doing it. I was done. I shut down mentally. I shut down emotionally. My content suffered because of it, because I didn't know who I was. I let somebody else's definition define who I was as a person. And that brings us to today. I had created Radiant Reflection because I want to create content. I want to do work that is a reflection of who I am inside. So when you look at my content, I try to keep it positive. I try to keep it engaging. I try to keep it happy. I don't want you watching my content getting depressed. I don't want you watching my content questioning yourself. I want you to watch my content and feel inspired. So Radiant Reflection is my coaching business that I help Black creators with their mindset, and we get them to a point where they are feeling their authentic self. They're not afraid to be their authentic self, and then they can go forward with making content that is authentically them. The reason being is so much of us are trying to emulate what's popular. We're trying to emulate what's working, and forgetting that most content that goes viral, most content that is engaging is real. We want stuff that feels real. The more real your content feels, the better chances are that you're going to go viral, that you're going to create an audience. I think the thing that we need to keep in mind is we don't need to be millionaires to live luxurious. We don't need all the money in the world to live a better life. We just need to find the audience that resonates with our content, and then everything will work itself out. Everything will play itself out. We don't need 1 million followers to make $10,000 a month. I know many people don't tell you that, but there are so many different avenues to make money that you just need to allow yourself to think that it is possible. You don't need to know how to do it. Just keep telling yourself that yes, I can make $10,000 a month off of my subscriptions from Twitch or off of my AdSense from YouTube. Getting there is a challenge, but it's not impossible. The more that you realize that it's not impossible, the more your brain will start to look for ways that it is possible and move you in that direction. So yeah, for a long time, I drank the Kool-Aid that corporate is the only way to get a house, to be a human being in this world, but that's a lie. That's a lie. You don't have to work in corporate America in order to fulfill your dreams. In fact, I would say some of y'all are lucky. Some of y'all got dream jobs that you are 100% satisfied with. Your soul is getting enriched and fed, and you leave your job not feeling torn down. Unfortunately, a lot of us did feel torn down, did feel like we were working at a soulless or soul-sucking place, and it was not beneficial to us as a human. Therefore, the silent quitting happens. Therefore, me just leaving corporate America and starting my own thing starts to happen. So that's it. My goal is just to encourage you to think outside the box. Know that you have something that is special, that is worth nurturing, and begin to start nurturing it. The sooner you start on this journey, the sooner you will realize and hit your end goal. Stop making excuses. Stop saying that you need to wait till you have the perfect camera, that you need to have the perfect microphone, all that shit. It's all lies. It's just things that our brain are telling us to keep us safe. You need to know that going out on a limb and creating content, making something for yourself is not a dangerous prospect. It is safe. It is something that you need to do. And I promise you, once you get started, you will love yourself for it. If any of that resonated with you, or if you have stucknesses that you want to knock down and get out the way, hit me up in the comments. Head over to radiantreflection.best and book a discovery session. In that discovery session, I talk about my methodology. I talk about how I view the world and what is happening in our brain when we have feelings like anxiety or procrastination. I only want to be here to help. My goal is to get as many Black creators on the path so I can be there when they're like, oh man, you were there for my origin story, or I'm so glad that I started this because here I am now. Let's get your success story started now. Hit me up. Let's talk about it. And let's get clear. All right. And as always, protect your mental, keep creating content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.